Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to provide you an overview of what is a working paper file. Purpose and objective of a working paper file. In simple terms, the purpose of a working paper file is to provide the evidence, support, proof, and comfort over financial statements line items, such as cash, account receivable, and fixed asset balances. The working paper reflects the quality and reliability of the work performed by the auditor to substantiate financial statements line items. Working papers are property of the auditor and should be kept confidential. Questions to ask when preparing a working paper file. What is the nature of engagement you are preparing? Is it an audit engagement, a review engagement, or a compilation engagement? The nature of engagement will determine the testing and the procedures you will have to perform to complete the engagement. Determine the risk of material misstatement. Are there any complex or unusual transactions? Is the bookkeeper competent or not? As a result, you have to make a judgment in terms of what is the risk that the financial statements can be materially misstated. Determine who are the users of the financial statement. Is it the management, the bank, the lender, any potential buyer, a vendor, or the CRA? The type of users who will be relying on the financial statement will determine the audit approach, the materiality, and the scope of the engagement. You should determine if there are any management biases or motivation, such as profit maximization, tax minimization, compliance with loan covenant, or management bonuses. Management bias can affect the bottom line and the financial results, such as if the management bonuses are contingent on net profit, the management can be motivated to record the revenue in the incorrect period, to overstate the profits, or the management can be motivated to understate the cost. If the management motivation is tax minimization, then the management can understate the revenues or overstate the cost. Next, you should determine if there are any pervasive risks, such as management integrity or independence risk. If you have doubt about management's integrity, this means there is high risk of material misstatement and you may have to use a lower materiality level, or there may be a risk of fraud. And finally, you need to consider the key success factors such as growth, innovation, research and development, direct input cost, competition, legal, economic, and political environment. Assume you are a partner at a small firm and you have to review and sign off on the financial statements prepared by the staff. So the question is, are you confident that the statements are correct? And if so, are you prepared to sign off on the financial statement? The staff member has also prepared a working paper file to support each of the financial statement line item. The working paper file is broken down into several sections. Section A is for the bank. Section B of the working paper file is for marketable securities. Section C of the working paper file is for accounts receivable, and so on. What would you expect in the working paper file for each financial statement line item before you can sign off and issue the notice to reader report? You want to make sure that you're comfortable with each of the financial statement line item and you're comfortable with the financial statement as a whole. before you can sign off and issue the notice to reader report. Assuming this is a compilation or a notice to reader engagement where you are not providing any assurance, what backup you would like to see in the working paper file before you are ready to sign off? For bank balance of $33,900, you would like to see in the section A, to support the bank balance of $33,900, you would expect to see that the bank balance agrees to the bank statement and a bank reconciliation statement in section A of the working paper file. To support the marketable securities balance of $3,000, you would expect to see an year-end investment statement that shows the list of stocks, the cost of each of the stock, and the fair market value of each stock. To support the accounts receivable balance of $1,000, you would expect to see in section C of the working paper file the AR aging report showing the accounts receivable by each customer and the number of days the balance has remained outstanding for. You would also like to see some sort of documentation on the collectibility or valuation of the AR balance. As a backup for inventory balance of $11,200, you would expect to see in section D of the working paper file the inventory count report showing the list of all inventory items at year end, cost of each item, and the price of each inventory item. You would also like to see some sort of commentary or documentation on the impairment, obsolescence, and valuation of the inventory balance at year end. To support the asset balance of $30,900, you would expect to see in section U of the working paper file at least the continuity schedule showing reconciliation from opening to ending balance of the fixed asset. You want to see any additions, dispositions, and calculation of amortization expense. You also want to see the copy of invoices for any significant assets purchased in the year. As a backup and support for accounts payable and accruals of $22,000, you would expect to see in section BB of the working paper file the AP aging report showing the list of vendors and the days the AP balance has been outstanding. You would also like to see a listing of all accruals at year end, such as accounting fee accrual, legal fee accrual, any bonuses payable, or management fees payable at year end. As a backup and support for capital stock balance of $1,000, you would expect to see in section SS of the working paper file a copy of share register showing the share classes, issued and authorized shares, and also the subscription price for each share. Once you have reviewed all the working paper support for each of the financial statement line item, now you can feel comfortable to sign off and issue the notice to reader report to your client.